Cunard ordered Britain's first superliner, a legend was born. She was the ship that helped lift a nation out of recession. A ship that influenced the course of the Second World War. She was Southampton's favourite liner.
There was just something about her that made her different from the rest of the ships.
To be in one of the Queens was considered to be the absolutely top of the tree.
It was mind-boggling because everything was such good quality.
She's become an icon of 30s glamour.
What's it doing in Long Beach in an ocean where it never sailed? I have to say that we wanted it, and we wanted it because it was an icon, not just for Britain, but for the whole world.
She is R.M.S. Queen Mary.
Broadcasting live from the dark and cold dungeons deep beneath the KLAV studios in Las Vegas, Nevada. Prepare yourselves to be taken away into another dimension as we now have control over your thoughts, fears, and perspective of the unexplained world you dare not speak of. With your hosts, Lindsay Knight and Michael Knight. Ladies and gentlemen, we now open the gates to the paranormal and beyond.
Broadcasting live from the KLAV studios in Las Vegas, Nevada, this is the Paranormal and Beyond. From 1936 through 1967, the Royal Mail steamer, the R.M.S. Queen Mary, has been an icon when it comes to cruise liners, coming only second to the ill-fated Titanic. Also considered as the most haunted and terrifying ship in the world, the Queen Mary displaces a staggering 81,961 tons of water as she sits regally in the port of Long Beach, California. However, Her Majesty in the port of Long Beach is about to welcome something even bigger, because in a moment we will be joined by a star-studded cast of celebrities who will be personally attending the Beyond Expo and Beyond Film Festival aboard the Queen Mary on March 13th through the 16th with the mission of establishing a residential college for special needs individuals. So get ready for Mike Loop, Susan Bell, Vernon Wells, Jason Gates, Kelli Coffey, and Shaun Piccinino as we discuss the event of the year when we return right here on the Talk of Las Vegas, KLAV 1230 AM.
Your ticket to the unknown is at KnightsParanormalResearchSociety.com. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, hauntings, mysterious places, and more can be found at KnightsParanormalResearchSociety.com. Knights with a K, ParanormalResearchSociety.com. Based out of Las Vegas, Nevada, Knights Paranormal Research Society is owned and operated by the renowned brother and sister team of Michael and Lindsay Knight. Seeing is believing. And at KnightsParanormalResearchSociety.com, you're going to believe. Join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11 p.m. to midnight for the Paranormal and Beyond. Join host Michael Knight and Lindsay Knight as they investigate the unexplained and most controversial mysteries of the world. The Paranormal and Beyond, where the paranormal lives on and conspiracies exposed. The Paranormal and Beyond, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 11 p.m. to midnight. Brought to you by KnightsParanormalResearchSociety.com.
Just because you've seen it in the news doesn't mean it's real.
So you're telling me you got physically attacked by a ghost?
Like, I can tell you right now, I believe in the paranormal more than I believe in our government.
There are so many mysteries out there that are still yet to be explained.
You folks have some of your facts wrong, and you just keep talking about generalities.
With all due respect, sir, you have not brought anything to the table to prove us wrong.
This is the Paranormal and Beyond, and it's your show. Call us at 731-1230. Here again, Michael Knight and Lindsay Knight.
Welcome back to another brand new edition of the Paranormal Beyond. But first, be sure to check us out at Knight's Paranormal Research Society.com, where you can link up to all the past shows by simply clicking on that archive link above. That's Knight's Paranormal Research Society.com. Ever want to be an actor? Well, start acting right now by logging on to HollywoodBoundActingAcademy.com. Once again, that's HollywoodBoundActingAcademy.com. Special shout out to all those listening online through the KLAV1230am.com website, and all those driving around in the Vegas Valley listening to us on your stereos. I'm your host, Michael Knight. Alongside of me is your host, Lindsay Knight, your radio vigilantes, serving you up the nothing but paranormal bundt cake and all those goodies served and smothered with ghosty sauce. Lindsay, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Michael, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm trying to catch my breath. Sorry if I'm going too fast because we got a great show for you today because we're going to talk about a great benefit, and this is the Beyond Expo and Beyond Film Festival. We have Susan Bell, Mike Loop, Vernon Wells, Jason Gates, Kelli Coffey, Shaun, Piccinino, and they're all standing by. But first, let's get into today's news.
Topping the news for the Paranormal and Beyond this Wednesday, November 13th, bringing you up-to-the-minute news and all the strange and bizarre happenings around the globe. In Stockton, California, a father and son are in custody on suspicion of kidnapping the father's ex-wife to perform an exorcism. San Joaquin County Sheriff's officials say 42-year-old Jose Magana Farias and his son, 20-year-old Victor Farias, thought the woman was possessed because her behavior had changed. They picked her up on Saturday in Stockton and got two priests. The priests aren't expected to face charges. According to a sheriff's report, the woman was doused with sacred oil during some sort of religious ceremony. She was later found unharmed. Jose Farias and his son are scheduled to appear in court on Wednesday afternoon. It was not immediately clear whether they had attorneys or had been charged. Reporting the news for the Paranormal and Beyond, this is Lindsay Knight.
All right, for all you paranormal and paranoid people out there, yes, exorcism can be dangerous, but it can also land you in jail.
It can also be a crime.
Exactly. Paranormal isn't always safe. All right, let's get to our main topic, and by introducing our guest. Our first guest, Mike Loop, a gifted psychic medium and intuitive counselor, has been investigating and researching the paranormal for the past 10 years. Mike uses his gifts as a psychic medium and paranormal investigator to help others find out what is going on in their lives and activity within the paranormal. He is also widely known for his spot-on accuracy. Our second guest joining us is Susan Bell, is the president and executive director of the Foundation Beyond Expo and Beyond Talent Management Agency. She is also the co-host and executive producer of the Las Vegas Night Shift. Traveling all over the world, our third guest, Jason Gates, is very well known when it comes to the paranormal community. He is one of the lead investigators on the Sci-Fi's hit show HauntedCollector, whereupon a team of paranormal investigators investigates alleged haunted locations with the hopes of identifying and removing any on-site artifacts or trigger objects that may be the source of the supposed paranormal or poltergeist activity. Also joining us is veteran actor Vernon Wells, an Australian film and television actor who has built his career around action-type films, most often cast as a villain. He is widely known for his roles such as the blockbuster movie Commando, where he played Arnold Schwarzenegger's nemesis, Bennett. He is also seen on Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, where he played the villain Wes opposite of Mel Gibson. Our fifth guest, Shaun Piccinino, is an award-winning actor, director, film director, and digital effects artist with work on Robot Chicken, Star Wars, and also an accomplished actor-director on Spike TV's critically acclaimed drama Deadliest Warrior. Shaun starred as William Wallace on Deadliest Warrior and was featured in the opening credits of the first season, displaying his competency with many specialty weapons. His second unit direction work on the first season also garnered him a director position on the show's first season and second season as well. And last but not least, Kelli Coffey is the owner of Kelli and Ross Show, which can be seen on her YouTube channel, which now has over 7 million viewers, on which she teaches everyone how to develop their natural psychic abilities after Suffering from a near-death experience in 2010 that dramatically changed the course of her life, she chose to come back and is now living out her mission. The Paranormal and Beyond would like to welcome everybody to the program. How you all doing?
Good. Doing
Great.
good.
Awesome.
Great. Doing good.
Oh, that was a mouthful. I'm still trying to catch my breath.
Well, it's a pleasure to have everybody on air, especially when this expo that we're doing, or you guys are all doing, is for a good cause. Susan, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, the Beyond Expo and Beyond Film Festival are fundraising events for a school, and the name of the college is Pace Water College. It will be a college for special needs individuals, and that would be a residential college. It will also be the first residential college for special needs in the United States. In addition, we hope to have an athletic center that would be able to house those wanting to be involved in the Special Olympics as a residential training center.
First and foremost, it's a wonderful cause. Second, it's for the haunted Queen Mary. Mike Loop, tell us about the Queen Mary.
Oh my God. It is one of the most haunted places that I've ever been since 2004. There's over 600 active resident ghosts that haunt the Queen Mary. So there's been a lot of deaths from war wounds, accidents, old age. And during the war, there were 16,000 troops aboard the ship. Many of them died of old age, illnesses, war wounds, accidents. And also the Queen Mary didn't have any air conditioning on the ship, so therefore a lot of troops died of heat exhaustion. So it's one of the most haunted ships in America or in the world.
Now, it's been said, of course, that the pool is the most haunted spot in the Queen Mary. Is that true?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
There's a famous spirit down in the pool area by the name of Jackie. She's about 6 to 7 years old, and she apparently drowned, which was in the second-class pool area, which is now the Royal Theater. But she prefers being in the first-class swimming pool, where she can be heard by scores of people throughout the years. She always asks for her mother, her father, and she always likes to play peekaboo around the pillars, and she sings. She does everything, and there's also a vortex in the pool's dressing room, and there's a spirit in there by the name of Sarah, which is very aggressive, and she's very protective over Jackie.
Wow. I just wanted to ask you, Mike, how is it that you know so much about the Queen Mary?
Well, it goes back, back to 2004 when I first investigated the ship. I was on an investigation, and I just saw a poster that was on the Queen Mary that's a dinner and ghost tour with famed psychic Peter James, who was from the TV show Sightings back in the 90s. So I booked a tour with my girlfriend at the time and her mother. So we took the tour, got to meet Peter James, and then that's how I got to get Peter's information. He always gave out his business cards, his phone number, and he taught me about ghosts and hauntings. And I found out more about the Queen Mary through him and the ghosts that reside there. So after a while, I started investigating myself, and sure enough, I came in contact with those spirits that he would always talk about, and I got them on recording, had interactive communication with Jackie in the first-class swimming pool, Captain John Treasure Jones, who was the last captain of the ship, who brought the Queen Mary to Long Beach in 1967 in December, and had communicated with him and a number of spirits aboard the ship.
My goodness, so you pretty much shook hands with pretty much every ghost in there.
I wouldn't say every single ghost, but pretty much the well-known ones. And I want to also add, not all the spirits on the ship. There are some that are wayward spirits. Now, they're not necessarily stuck to the Queen Mary, but they're come and go from different places. They can follow people just randomly to the ship, and that's what they call wayward spirits, where they come and go when they please.
All right, I want to jump to Jason. You are familiar with haunted artifacts, doing your show, HauntedCollector. Have you got a chance to do anything aboard the Queen Mary?
Actually, I have, man. I've done a couple investigations there. Unfortunately, one of them was the night. It was during Halloween time. It was the night when they have all the haunted houses and parties set up outside. So the whole thing was literally contaminated with the noise from that. So that was kind of a letdown. We were all excited to go, and then it was literally just the biggest party outside going on. So
Oh, I know how that is.
Absolutely, you know, everything was contaminated. But went there another time, and it was great, man. I mean, the ship itself is just amazing, and we got some really good EVPs. Smelled horrible in there, I'll say that.
Smell like old,
I don't know,
old metal.
Man, I don't know what. It's funny because I've been there a couple times, and I don't know what it was about that time, but that time smelled so bad. Like, I couldn't get that smell out of my nose for days. So,
oh, wow.
Jason, doing your show,
interesting.
Haunted Collector, have you became even more sensitive towards objects itself?
I don't know if I'd use the word sensitive, but I'd definitely say I'm more aware. That's something I obviously think about a lot more now, and when going into investigations, you know, that maybe before I would have just passed up.
What is the craziest object you ever held?
Oh, man.
There's many, right?
Yeah.
Besides the 357.
I mean, like, come on, you know what goes on in this world.
I know. Yeah, I pretty much just juggle them. That's what I do. No. I'd say one of the craziest was this thing called a garrote we found, which is basically used by members of the mob to strangle people. It was basically two wooden dowels with a wire. So, you know, we don't know if that was actually used on it to kill anybody, but that was what it was designed for. So that was one of actually the objects that I first held that I, found with John. And I remember that was just crazy, holding that in my hands, and then later finding out what it was.
You know, the only, thing, except for the whole Queen Mary overall, there's one, relic in there that I'll never forget seeing, and it's that Ouija board behind the glass. Oh, they got a Ouija board in here. Have you seen that?
At the Queen Mary?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have, to be honest.
Well, I just have to say that during the Beyond Expo, it's going to be brought out so everybody can touch it. No,
I don't play with that stuff.
I doubt it.
It doesn't stay behind the glass.
Is there a story behind the board? Or?
I don't know. I haven't seen it. Mike has obviously seen it because he spots things like that.
It's behind a glass where they had old relics and artifacts. Mike, have you seen that?
Yeah, I have. They used to have it where they had the Paranormal Research Center back in the early 2006, 2007, 2008. They had it, and they still have it to this day. And it's the last part of the tour where you go on the Ghosts and Legends show of the Queen Mary, the exit, and they have it in the mirror of the Ouija board. As far as anything to deal with that Ouija board, I have no idea, but it is there, and it's kind of cool and spooky. And they also have a wedding dress type thing in there as well behind the mirror.
Yeah.
Do you know one of the that I find one of the most interesting, and actually it just really puts you back. They have certain areas that they have glassed off, and one of the most interesting is the playroom. And it has toys and all sorts of artifacts that kids used when they were aboard the ship. And to me, this is one of the most interesting areas of the ship.
Have anybody
other than the swimming pool?
Have anybody set up a static camera in that playroom to see if people are playing with the toys?
Oh, I don't know.
Not. I have never tried it, but I've heard stories that people actually heard somebody shaking the door, and then some people seen the little rocking chair, like the little horse rocking chair, move by itself. Now, these are just some stories some guests have witnessed. So I've never witnessed it myself, but the stories go on the ship. So
I have a question. During this Beyond Expo event, because it's open to the public for everybody to come, and I encourage everybody to come to this event, obviously, but there's going to be people that are going to want to do the ghost tour as well. Is that going to be open that night, or is it going to be pretty much closed off?
No, you'll be able to do ghost tours. Also, we're working on, and we will be having a seance. I think it's scheduled for like 1 o'clock in the morning on Friday. Well, it'll be Saturday morning, but and we're hoping to have the seance. We don't have final approval yet, but we're hoping to have it in the first-class swimming pool area.
I want to jump to Vernon Wells. Mr. Wells, your favorite role by far to me growing up in the 80s is Lord General on Weird Science. I always imitate him. But are you a firm believer when it comes to the paranormal?
Yeah, I mean, I believe in ghosts and entities and things. I'm not. I don't believe that when we die or when something traumatic happens to us that we just vanish. I mean, I think that our soul and that part of us, if it's put through trauma and things before it dies, that it's looking for peace and trying to find a way to establish that peace or find out what happened or find something or someone that can help it move on to the next stage. I mean, you know, I grew up with my grandfather, and my grandfather was a very, very intelligent man. We lived in the country, way out in away from society, basically on a farm, and he believed in all of that thing, and he embraced it. I mean, that was, to him, that was part of life. That was part of what we were and where we were. And I grew up with that kind of attitude. And I remember when I was living in Australia, in Melbourne, in my house, I had a big English sheepdog. And every so often he would run out of the bedroom into the hallway and start wagging his tail and just like being really, really excited. And then he would sort of sit like someone was stroking him. And then after maybe a minute or so, he'd come wandering back into the bedroom all like happy and lay down and go back to sleep. So somewhere in that house that I was living in, there was an entity that loved dogs, and he understood it, and he had been able to see it, and he would go out to it, and it would stroke him, and he would come back as happy as a clam. I never saw it. It never caused trouble. It never rattled windows or slammed doors or any other thing. So, but I knew it was there.
Wow. Yeah, it's great to have other people who are not closed-minded. Like us doing this, we come across a lot of people who just don't believe in stuff. And you'd be surprised, you put them in a situation. Then they're like, okay, what's going on here? And it's like, you know, seeing is believing, you know, you're feeling something. But I want to get now to Kelli. All right, you're a sensitive medium and psychic. Have you been on the Queen Mary before?
I have not, but I am definitely looking forward to it.
Yeah, you're ready to get the tingles.
I'm not sure about that. There's going to be a lot of entities on there. My daughter Samantha and I have tried to, I don't want to say contact, but just kind of sense the energy on the ship before we get there. And Samantha has told me she sensed, you know, over 100 entities. So this is going to be a very interesting trip.
Are you going to be doing any readings on the ship as well?
I am not. I mean, I guess you guys called me a psychic medium. I don't really do readings for money, anything like that. I am more like a spiritual advisor, if you will. And I teach other people how to do this.
I love that you just said that. I love how you just said that, because there's many clairvoyants out there who do this for some kind of a sum, you know, and they don't do it pretty much to help other people. They just do it to make a fee off of that if they can. And I love exactly what you said. I mean, it's very humbling of you. Shaun, thank you for coming on the show.
Shaun, what say you about paranormal
what
activity?
Say you?
Any stuff flying around the set?
I've always been a believer. I've always been of the belief that I don't rule anything out. And I've had my own personal experiences. My mother had a outer body experience when she was when I was very young, and I was right there with her when it happened. I was giving her a hug, and she collapsed in my arms and died 3 separate times. And of course, thankfully for me and my family, she was able to come back from it. But so through that was kind of, one of the first openings of that spiritual and kind of, alternate dimension or, paranormal, whatever you want to call it, experiences through just that. And just hearing my mother recount the experience was, very interesting. So, but I've always been into that. I have a similar animal story with one of my cats in a house that I grew up in, and I've seen all sorts of stuff. I've seen lights in the skies, and so yeah, I'm always very interested in this stuff, and excited for the festival and Expo as well.
It's amazing because there's, you still get those people out there who are very closed off and closed-minded and, walk a one-way street where they don't want to open their minds to anything but their daily lives, drink their coffee, wake up in the morning, what have you. But then, you have us and other people out there who are seeking, the truth and what else is out there besides, the norm. And it's funny that when you do get into this, like paranormal, whatever it is, it broadens your horizon and opens you up more to everything in life.
Not only that, a lot of people don't come into this, they're born into this. Like Kelli, you're a near-deather, just like me.
Yes.
Yeah, my abilities came after that whole, tragic event. And we talked about this before and on Mike's show. And did yours heighten after your event as well?
Yes, I was psychic, if you want to use that word, since I was really a young girl. In fact, I don't ever remember a time that I did not see things. So I just, grew up seeing things. I grew up Baptist, so I had to kind of suppress a lot of that, not talk to people about it. Later on, I, delved into it. The first time by accident, and I said, I want to repeat that. And I learned how to see auras, and I turned around and started teaching people how to see auras and things like that. So I had a level of psychic ability that was pretty good. And then when I died and I came back, it was like, oh my gosh, like you become like bionic man.
Supercharged.
Enlightened.
Oh my gosh. Like, I'm so glad that I did this stuff before I died, because if I had done nothing and I came back with all of these abilities, I might have gone insane. So it was hard enough as it was. But I had some, traumatic events early on, and I think that's how it starts for a lot of kids. They have traumatic things come through the strongest, which is someone's going to die or the bad stuff, and they get really scared about that. And this ability scares them. And when you teach them, hey, you can tune into all the frequencies, not just the strongest one. You can see everything or whatever you want. You can kind of pick and choose. Then they feel like they have a lot more control over their lives.
I think people go through some kind of spiritual enlightenment sometime in their life, whatever the cause may be. But once they do, I think they become more intuitive to everything and all the surroundings around them. But no, thank you for that. I mean, like, you really enlightened me. Now, Jason, I have a question for you. You being with haunted objects, and of course they're attached to those objects, has it maybe latched on to one of your, peers that you've worked with, or to yourself, and you brought it home with you? Isn't it? And is it with you right now?
Yes, there's actually 3 behind me at the moment. They say hi.
Hello, and hello.
They say hello back. Now, honestly, I've been very lucky, and I don't, believe I've been followed home by anything. And as far as our crew goes, too, I think most of us have gotten away pretty unscathed. I'm not sure why exactly that is. I mean, we all have different sources of protection and everything, but yeah, we didn't really have any really crazy instances of that happening. We did do a case, this was kind of interesting, where we were dealing with an Indian artifact, or it was a fetish doll, they called it, kind of like a voodoo doll. And later, the day after we found that, our hotel was overrun with crickets but just in the rooms of the fellows on the show. And the ladies at the front desk came, and they're like, "What's going on? Like, why? What? There's this cricket infestation just in, I think it was in John's room, and a couple of the crew members on the show. So that was pretty freaky. Although honestly, that could have been somebody playing a joke too. So
they let out their cricket collection.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there was a PetSmart poster there. So, but I mean, if that wasn't the case, that was pretty scary. But yeah, I mean, we've been really lucky, but we definitely take precautions.
Yeah, that's one of the job hazards is taking back something you're hunting. You know, it's like next thing you know, you're in your bedroom and there's a big polar bear there because you were hunting it. It's like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Susan.
Yes.
I'm
thinking about the polar bear.
I know.
Good analogy, huh?
What are people to expect once they board the Queen Mary on that fateful night?
Well, whoa, you're making it sound like this is the Titanic. You're going to scare people.
It's funny because I wanted to say the R.M.S. Titanic.
It's not going anywhere. The very first night is our black tie celebrity red carpet and banquet. And then we will be actually screening Shaun's movie, The Lackey. After the dinner, we'll be screening that movie for everybody. And so that's going to be really cool. Andrea Perron, who is the author of House of Darkness, House of Light, and the books are basically was the beginning of the movie The Conjuring, and was loosely based on her family's. Well, it was her family's life story. So she's going to be doing a lot of things on board, and she's going to be presenting Kelli, and we're going to be actually screening The Conjuring on Friday night. So there's going to be encounters. The fabulous Jeremy Bennett, he's an international television star in the UK, Europe, and Canada. He's from Newfoundland. He'll be there. He also authored an incredible book. He actually cured himself of the what doctors call the most severe case of OCD they have ever seen. So he's going to be there. We have authors. Kelli and Samantha are going to be doing, one of the things they're going to be doing is an encounter for kids about growing up psychic and that kind of thing. Then we have 4 teenage girls that are psychic mediums and the such, and they are going to have their own encounter just for teens. So we're going to have something for everyone. And of course, we're going to have a seance. We'll have a meet and greet, and Vernon and Shaun and Jeremy, all of our people are going to be there at the meet and greet, so that, if you want to get up close and personal with the celebs, you can. So there's going to be something for everybody. Oh, and we're having a masquerade ball, too. On Saturday night.
Oh, really?
On Saturday night the 15th, which, if you guys don't know, that's the Ides of March. And the original Ides of March was the night that Brutus killed Caesar.
Oh.
So it's and we're on board the most fabulous ship in the world, and it's sitting right in the Long Beach dock, and it is just mind-boggling when you're on the ship. And Mike and I were just there. We got some footage of it, and we had so much fun that day. And it's just, and by the way, the staterooms are, I was just really shocked because I've been on a lot of cruise ships. These are the size of regular rooms, hotel rooms. And that is so uncommon on a cruise ship. Usually you're in a closet. And so it's just amazingly beautiful. And sitting in the harbor with the lights and everything. It's an enchanting ship. It's a haunted ship, so there's something for everybody.
Absolutely. I mean, just being in that iconic ship itself is like a bonus. Mike, are you conducting the seance yourself?
What we're going to be doing is Peter Sereno, who's an internationally known psychic medium. He's worked with a lot of people in the metaphysical field for the last 40 years. He's worked with people like James Van Praagh, John Holland. Most of these people were students of his. A.J. Barrera was a student of Peter's, and now I'm a student for the last 10 years of Peter Sereno's. So basically, me and Peter Sereno are going to both be hosting and doing the seance that's possibly going to be in the first-class swimming pool if we get the okay to do it down there. And it's limited to 15 people. And personally, for me, what I'm going to be doing for the encounters is going to be talking about spirit communication, giving a demo of how one connects with someone's loved one or energy. And then I'm going to talk about ghosts of the Queen Mary. And I'm going to show video footage that I have, play EVPs for everybody. And then the last thing I'm going to be doing too is a psychic development class, which is going to last probably for 2 hours for those who are really want to take it to an advanced level of their psychic gifts. So I pretty much teach everything with psychic abilities that Peter Sereno has taught me for the last 10 years. And I use his methods to teach others. And I can see what people have, and I can teach them how to open one's gift and use it for the good and help others. And that's pretty much the bottom line.
Yeah, I've never been in a seance. But it's, you know, I'm thinking of like Sarah Winchester up in her room.
Make that
there.
16 and 17 people.
Yeah, and all the ghosts that's gonna come along. But so, how does one be a part of this seance?
How does one? Basically, you could go ahead and buy the tickets online at beyondexpo.us, and again, it's only for one night and 15 people. So the first 15 people to buy the tickets are the ones that are going to actually be able to be part of the seance. And pretty much what we are going to do things is we're going to try to connect with some of the spirits on board the ship and also bring loved ones from the people who are sitting with us inside the circle and bring spirits through, channeling through, or whatever activity happens. But we always maintain, we always go in with a prayer of protection, that we only ask for the highest vibrations and the highest vibrations only to come through. So basically our spirit guides are like the watchers, and they keep any negative energy and hold them back and only let those that are highest vibration to come through. So rest assured, you'll be in good hands with Peter Sereno, because he's pretty much going to lead it, and I'm going to be there because you need two mediums to do a seance. One is the grounder, the other one is the channeler and the igniter for the spirit communication.
Is this going to be done inside the pool?
That's what we're hoping for. We just have to get the okay. And if it is, we're going to be at the bottom of the pool, sitting in a circle, and just let things go.
That place is scary. I'm telling you, even when they do that ghost show, it's scary.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting. I did one last year, October, at an event up in Columbia, California, where it's really haunted. Me and Peter did a seance, and we brought some information from loved ones coming through. It was just really amazing. K2 meters were going off, and then Peter threw me on stage, got me off, and did readings in front of everybody in the audience. So Peter's been a really big motivator for me. I'm going to tell you, it's, he motivated me to just get on stage, not to be afraid to do readings in front of people. And now it's like nothing for me. I just go on stage and I'll just do it. It's just bam. Never be afraid to just go with it.
Michael, Lindsay, I just wanted to interject this really, really quick because I forgot it before. Everybody, we are so thrilled and we're so honored that Lorraine Warren will be at the Expo. She is the most gracious lady ever. Has been in the paranormal business since 1952 with her husband Ed, and her case files were part of along with Andrea's books, is The Conjuring. So we'll have her. She's been so gracious. She has agreed to do an encounter. She has agreed to do book signings. She's 86 years old, and she's making this trip along with her son-in-law, Tony Spera. So we're beyond being grateful and just so honored that she's going to be a part of our expo.
Yeah, it's just mind-blowing, the people you have going and just the stuff you're doing. I've never been to an event that had a seance. I'm still blown back by that. You know?
You better go online and buy that ticket right now.
Yeah, so Vernon, have you ever been in a seance?
Yeah, I used to play with that stuff when I was a kid.
And probably hanging around Susan too much.
Yeah, I think so. No, I had a few encounters when I was younger, which kind of scared the bejesus out of me, and kind of because I didn't have anyone that could actually help me understand what was happening, I backed away from it. So I'm still very intrigued by the whole thing. I'm very intrigued by a lot of things, that being one of them. So I'll be interested to be a voyeur in this one, is to stand back and watch and see and learn.
The first one out the door.
No,
I'm just joking.
I'm not quite like that. I remember when I was a kid, I was 16 years old, and I was at a county fair in Australia, and I was walking around, and there was a tent with a sayer in it. And, she read the future, could tell you in the cards what was going to happen to you. And I walked through the door, and she looked up, and she said, sit. And as I sit, she took my hand, and she said, I've been waiting all day for you. I need the energy. And she just held my hand, and I felt so weird. And when she finished, she said, thank you so much, because now I can continue. I felt so drained and so distressed and so weird that I got the heck out of there. And it was little things like that happened as I was growing up, which made me very aware of what was going on, but also very afraid of it, because there was no one ever there. My grandfather by that time had died, so I couldn't talk to him to help me understand what was going on. So, I mean, sitting around on a bed with a couple of your friends and doing a seance and trying to evoke the spirits and do things and having something happen that scares the Jesus out of you really doesn't help you understand. All it does is make you get so introverted towards it that you want to get away from it because you don't want to know about it. Little things that happen always reflect on how your life will turn out. I remember being out with a group of friends. We were going out shooting rabbits at night, and we're driving. In Australia, night is black. It's really, really dark. And we're driving along, and this light was following us, and we thought it was a car behind us because very dark, the road. And it seemed to be away from us, like a mile or something. And a couple of us needed to go potty, so we stopped the car, and I was one of them, and I climbed out, and we climbed over the fence, and we just wandered off into the night to relieve ourselves. Then eventually we just wandered back to the car, and the other four guys that were in the ar were just sitting there, white as ghosts, with their mouths open. And we went, "What? What happened?" And they went, "You didn't see, you weren't." And we're like, "What? What are you talking about?" And they said, when you went out there, that light just suddenly just surrounded you, and then it was really bright, and it vanished, and you guys were gone, and now you're back, and it's been 20 minutes. And we went, "What?" And we looked at our watches. We'd been gone for 20 minutes.
Yeah, there's a thing called phantom time. I haven't done a show on that, but that's where people just lose time.
On our next show, coming up is Phantom Time. I've never even heard of that.
Wells. What happened to your time?
I have no idea. My life's like that.
I can relate. It's like, what's going on? Why do I even need a clock to look at? It doesn't work in my world.
We do need a clock for this show, though.
All right, Shaun, are you going to take part as well in this seance?
Yeah, maybe. At the very least, I'll be standing next to Vern there, checking it all out. But yeah, I mean, all this stuff is very cool. And that, you know, what's interesting for me is I've never been one who is really frightened by any of that kind of stuff. I'm not trying to say, hey, I'm a big, strong, whatever kind of guy. It just means my curiosity isn't, that I think that something bad can happen from this stuff. Like, I really am very open-minded, but very positive with that kind of energy. I've never been, one that believes that some physical harm will come to me from any of these kind of encounters. So I'm always, people get spooked and they get afraid, and I certainly can have that happen to me as well. But I don't truly believe that these entities are trying to harm, at least not the ones I've experienced. I've been in shooting on that Deadliest Warrior show. We were at the Linda Vista Hospital in Los Angeles, which is supposed to be very haunted. I don't know if anybody knows about that place.
Oh yeah,
we know.
Oh yeah.
And I was in all the places in that hospital where they said do not go, even places where they had closed it off. And it was very interesting. I was there with several guys who are very connected in that way, and they were very freaked out. And I kept telling them, I said, I don't feel any kind of malice here. You know what I mean? There's not somebody trying to do me harm. I did have a funny experience though happen. We were shooting in a morgue there within the hospital with the nice little slide out drawers for bodies and stuff. And we were shooting a particular scene, and I was setting the camera up, and I was kind of walking backwards, trying to kind of visualize how I wanted this scene to go. And as I was stepping backwards, I felt something start prickling in my hair, like almost felt like fingers in my hair. And I whipped around really fast to see what it was, thought it was maybe somebody playing a prank on me, and there was nothing there. And I turned back around, and I started feeling it again. And I whipped back around, and that's, what I was just talking about. I had that moment of, I started to get freaked out, even though I didn't feel any kind of malice or truly evil energy there. And what it was a telescopic light that was coming off the side of the wall and hanging down. And that was what was brushing my head. And I just, by turning around, I couldn't see it because it was above me. And so I had a nice little scare there from that moment. But yeah, so I'll be there. I'll be there whether I'm in it or right outside watching.
Jason, are you going to be taking part in this?
Heck yeah, man.
Of course you are.
But only if we take the Ouija board out of the
glass. Oh man, I knew you were gonna
man.
say something like that. It's like, I need a haunted relic. Let's spice things up a little. Hey, can we do that, Mike?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike, please.
Yeah, no Ouija boards. That's for sure.
And we all know not to do that. That's just,
I know.
People are probably listening like, are they crazy? Are they just waiting for Satan to come out?
Well, this goes out to all of you, whoever wants to answer this. As far as this event being 3 days, from the 13th to the 16th, how if people want to talk to you firsthand and up front and ask you questions, are you going to have a booth per se, or how exactly can they reach you and talk to you if they have questions to ask you?
About the ship itself?
About anything in generality about themselves and what they've done, and the movie that. Is it Mike's movie? Shaun's movie. I'm sorry. Your movie, Shaun. Anything else like that?
Like an info booth.
Info booth, that's it.
Well, we are going to... Susan can probably answer this better, but I know we are going to have some red carpet events. We're also going to have a meet and greet, I believe. But Susan, go ahead. You can explain it better.
No, that's exactly what we're going to do. That first night, the only event on the 13th is the celebrity red carpet and the black tie dinner. And it's actually in the Queen's Salon on board the ship, which is just an amazing room. And ladies, this is for all the ladies out there. They have a mirror that you look in it and you look fabulous. So, and it's designed that way. And, the story behind it is that on board, a lot of people got seasick So when they came down to a function or something, the women were always afraid, I look washed out, I do this. This mirror is designed to make you look gorgeous. So that's a good thing. So
Sounds like a Cinderella thing.
Yes,
hey, me and Vernon look gorgeous too. Come on.
Yeah,
always
gorgeous too, and you won't look washed out and all of those things. And then we'll have a meet and greet on Friday, and that way everybody will be there. We'll have photo ops where all the celebrities will do photos at different times and autographs, and you can talk to them then. So there will be chances for everybody to be involved with the different celebrities in one way or the other.
Yeah, I can't wait to meet Kelli, fellow near-deather.
I can't wait to meet you.
We can do it all over again. We'll jump off the Queen Mary.
Stop it. Terrible. Terrible.
Well, we came back. Maybe we could do it again. All right, let's tell everybody how they can buy tickets for this great event, because I know people are dying. This is the Queen Mary we're talking about, and it's for a good cause. Everything about this is great. We got some great celebrities and icons going to this, and this is perfect. I mean, I'm ecstatic. Lindsay's ecstatic. All the spirits are ecstatic behind me, and ready to do this. So where can people go to buy tickets?
They can go to the website. It's www.beyondexpo.us, and there is an event page, so you can go on, and everything is up there. We're using PayPal. We also have a vendor. We kind of are doing a real special on our vendor booth right now. And it's just crazy not to do it, because I think one booth is $100 a day, and you get both days for $150. That ends November the 30th. So even the seance, everything is on the event ticketing page. So all you have to do is go to the website and go straight to it and click on it, and it's all listed under PayPal.
And what's that website again?
It's www.beyondexpo.us.
The date again for this event?
Pardon me?
The date again for this event?
Oh, it's March 13th to the 16th. On the 16th, the last day, the only thing that is scheduled for that day is a farewell brunch. And believe me, the Queen Mary, the brunch, is legendary.
So mimosas to go all around.
Yes. So that's the last thing. The main 2 days that there's activities all day long are Friday the 14th and Saturday the 15th.
All right. It's wonderful to have all you guys on the show, and especially promoting this event. Like I said, it's great, and urge everybody to go to this. And real quick, we got 2 minutes left. And you guys plug away. I mean, Vernon, what are you working on?
What am I working on? Actually, I've just finished my 7th film for this year. So Right now, I've got my feet up, my head down, and my butt on a chair, and I'm staying that way till the end of the year.
Good for you.
However, Shaun has promised to get my butt out of the chair because we're doing the sequel to The Lackey.
Oh, wow.
Yay!
So, Shaun, what are you up to?
Working on that. Well, actually, I'm shooting some commercials. I just finished a couple films doing the stunt coordination. But yeah, Bern's right. We're trying to gear up and get to shooting The Lackey too. So, and everybody, The Lackey one just came out on iTunes. So please go there, check it out. You can rent it, buy it, whatever. But it's on iTunes now, so just look up The Lackey, and The Lackey is Lackey. And, of course, you can go to our website at www.thelackeymovie.com. Again, Lackey is Lackey.
And, Jason, you as well have something in the future coming. Last talk to you.
Yeah, just been working on a few ideas for future shows, possibly. I can't say too much about that now, but it's definitely a very exciting thing that I can't wait to share. So,
all right, we look forward to that, and I know all the Haunted Collector fans out there. And make sure that you visit Kelli in the Raw And check out Mike Loop as well if you need any psychic services. All right, that's our show for today. Join us back here. What is it, Friday? God, time stopped for me. All right, everybody, have a good night. Take care.